Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and in this video we're going to be going over some of the changes being made to Monk in Final Fantasy XIV's next expansion, Stormblood. Now keep in mind that we did get quite a bit of information about Monk from the live letter number 36, but that everything you see here, every interaction between abilities, every numerical value we may say, is still subject to change. I said it in every job action video, and this one is no different. Now Monk is one of those jobs that a lot of people are paying attention to. I know not everybody really pays attention to this part of the community, but Monk's performance in raids is somewhat a meme. The job pretty much does a bunch of selfish things in order to improve its own damage without providing a whole lot of utility to the rest of the group. We did get some information about how that's being tackled in one of Monk's new abilities, and then they also have some new tools to play around with as well. So first and foremost, we get to look at the gauges. Monk didn't get anything new in terms of their gauges. Both of their gauges track resources they had prior to Stormblood. That would be their 5 Chakra stacks, as well as their Grease Lightning stacks. There isn't really too much to say about these right now, except that Grease Lightning appears to have had a duration buff, assuming that those numbers on the Grease Lightning UI thing actually stay for Stormblood. On top of that, abilities that interact with these bars in the past appear to be interacting with them in the same way. At the end of the video, you see Tornado Kick still eat the Grease Lightning 3, and Purification and Forbidden Chakra both use their Chakra stacks. However, regarding the Chakra stacks, it appears you have new ways of generating Chakra stacks in combat, as opposed to before where you pretty much only got them when you were using meditation, between pulls, or when a boss was jumping. Now we see 2 instances in the video where the monk actually gains Chakra stacks without the use of meditation. Once is early on in the video while the monk is doing perfect balance, they actually use Boot Shine back to back twice and both times gain a Chakra stack. It could be possible that Boot Shine now additionally gives Chakra stacks, which would mean that you get an extra Forbidden Chakra every 5 uses or so. We don't know that that's exactly how it works, but that's the way it looks in the video. Now during the perfect balance early on in the video, there is one ability that I didn't recognize. I even logged into my monk in Final Fantasy XIV to make sure it wasn't an ability that we already had, and while there were a few animations that kind of came close to lining up with it, I think it is actually a brand new ability. Now the ability is used before the 2 boot shines that actually give Chakra stacks, so it's possible that it's a monk buff that allows your next couple of ability uses to generate Chakra stacks, but I don't know if that's supposed to be something that works with boot shine or with any weapon skill, because after that the monk doesn't gain any more stacks from their own ability uses. They gain stacks through something else. So my actual prediction is that it might be the cross-roll ability. Every job in the job action trailer has at least one roll action in each of the job's displays, and it's possible that that one was Monk's one ability, because I don't see any of the other abilities that they use being in the cross-roll system. If I had to guess which one that is, Naoki Yoshida showed us one called True North in the live letter number 36, which got rid of your positional requirements for a short time. Considering how positionally dependent Monk is, it would make sense to show off that ability in particular in the Monk display. Anyway, let's get back to talking about the other way that the monk is actually shown generating Chakra stacks in the video. I feel like this one's a lot clearer because Naoki Yoshida actually talks about this exact ability in the live letter number 36. So like I said earlier, monks are generally seen as a selfish DPS. They really just focus on buffing themselves up and a very little raid utility. Yes, there's Dragon Kick, yes, there's Mantra, but compared to what all the other jobs offer, it's not considered something of extreme value. So what did they do? They gave them raid utility. I don't think we got the name of the ability, but they said that it increased the physical damage of people nearby, and that if anyone used a weapon skill in the vicinity of the monk, it actually feeds them Chakra stacks. They were making jokes about how the monk is absorbing the soul of its nearby allies, and you can very clearly see both that ability used and the effect that it's having in this job action trailer. So there's one point in the footage where you see the monk kind of cross their arms and then a giant AoE circle kind of pulses out from away from them, and then you can actually see the effect taking place. That is why there is another monk in the video, #2monks. You see that as the allied monk starts performing their weapon skills, the monk that we're actually watching in the footage gets like souls being sucked towards them, or energy or chi or something being sucked towards them for every weapon skill that their ally uses. And then you see the Forbidden Chakra stacks going up every time. I can only imagine that if you have like 3 fellow physical DPS, 2 tanks, think about all the Forbidden Chakras you're going to be using in such a short period of time. It also makes the Purification ability a little bit more worthwhile, because that I think right now sits on like a 90-second or 120-second cooldown, but you'll be able to use that even more frequently. An ability that monks kind of just like use it on occasion if they need like extra TP and there's not enough resources, but not very commonly used in my experience. It's going to be great seeing Purification actually serving a purpose for monks. Moving on from generating chakra stacks, there are other things that we could glean from this footage, as well as some observations from Naoki Yoshida playing it briefly during the live letter number 36. So the next ability I want to talk about here is Shoulder Tackle. I know, doesn't seem like it's really worth talking about, but according to what we saw during live letter number 36, Shoulder Tackle might be getting a bit of love. So when Naoki Yoshida very briefly played Monk during the live letter number 36, we saw him go from having no fists to having Fist of Earth. When this happened, the icon for Shoulder Tackle actually changed. On top of that, in the footage you see here, the monk goes Fist of Wind and actually uses Shoulder Tackle twice in a row. So it's possible that Shoulder Tackle is going to be changing depending on which fist you actually have active, giving it some different utilities. Like I said, we see it used twice in succession here, so it's possible that that is the Fist of Wind effect on Shoulder Tackle, which can be good if you have an occasion where you need to Shoulder Tackle to something and then Shoulder Tackle back to the boss, or shoulder Tackle back to something else. You know, just having multiple uses could have its utilities. We don't know what the Earth or the Fire one might do, but we can at least get a glimpse of what it might be doing with Wind. And finally, we got translations on some tooltips for two other new abilities that Monk is going to be getting. Now, both of these abilities are shown in the video you see here, and according to Reddit, they translate to Secret Teachings of Fire and Secret Teachings of Earth. So the tooltip we have translated from Reddit for Secret Teachings of Earth says that it has the following effects. First of all, it changes your fist stance to Earth. Pretty straightforward. However, the big thing with the Secret Teachings of Earth is that it gains additional effects if you are actually hit during its effect. For example, it says that you'll be given some damage reduction, and on top of that, your Greased Lightning timer will completely reset. That means that you could just switch to this while, I guess, the boss is jumping or there's multiple hits that you're going to be taking, and you want to maintain your Greased Lightning throughout these extra effects instead of just tornado kicking. When it came to Secret Teachings of Fire, it changed their fists to fire. I don't think that's a surprise to anyone after talking about Secret Teachings of Earth. And it increased their global cooldown in exchange for a higher damage output, effectively mitigating the skill speed you gain from Greased Lightning in exchange for big damage. I don't know about you, but I'm already thinking about the combination of Secret Teachings of Fire, plus the ability that allows your teammates to feed chakra stacks into you, plus however you actually generate chakra stacks for yourself, and I'm thinking of a machine gun of fists coming out of Forbidden Chakra. I don't know if I'm the only one who immediately thought of that when I read these descriptions. So are these things what Monk really needed to get made fun of less? I don't know. So the ability that gives the AoE buff, Yoshi P specifically said was for physical damage users in the live letter number 36. And that also implies that the weapon skill usage, specifically weapon skills, which is a physical DPS only thing, including the ranged physical DPS, would be what feeds into your chakras. So I'm wondering if they just are really good in physical heavy comps, or if this leads to physical heavy comps being more meta than caster heavy comps, or even just bringing one caster, kind of like the way it is now, to be honest. On top of that, their new abilities, both of the Secret Teachings ones, don't seem to have any sort of raid implications or raid buffs. Again, like a lot of their other abilities in Heavensward, they're very selfish. So the question is, does Monk bring that much more DPS on top of this one AoE buff to your physical damage users? Is that enough to get it, like, in meta? I mean, keep in mind, when we say meta, we're talking about a very small portion of the community that actually cares about meta. But a lot of the times, that small community ends up sort of infecting the minds of the wider community, and then it becomes a meme that you see very frequently in places like the Duty Finder or the Party Finder or in Shout Chat and Idleshire. So will this change that? I will have to wait and see, because we still don't know what the overall damage output of Monk is going to be compared to the other jobs, and maybe if it's that much higher than the other ones, just maybe that pushes them over the edge. We also still don't know what the other two shoulder tackles do, so there's too many questions in the air. Maybe Mantra's been changed, maybe some of their other major abilities have been changed, or their main global cooldown abilities have been changed. Who the heck knows at this point? We'll just have to wait and see. On that note, that's going to be a wrap for my Monk video. Hopefully you all enjoyed that analysis, and hopefully you guys are looking forward to Monk. I know I am. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned for all the remaining videos I have coming out of live letter number 36. Anyway, thank you for watching, and until next time, take care.